Renowned for its precision engineering and high-quality production, Germany is facing a crisis. Despite its wealth, cutting-edge factories, and significant investments in technology, Germany's industrial excellence is haunted by an exodus of professionals, weakening vital industries and the very foundations of its economy. But why is this happening, and what does it mean for Europe's economic powerhouse? Welcome to Living History. In many ways, Germany has been working to offset its brain drain for decades. Since the 1950s, low wages, high taxes, and an impossibly strained job market have sparked thousands of engineers, doctors, and young professionals to leave Germany, a phenomenon which has skyrocketed into the 2000s. But let's wind things back a moment. In the aftermath of World War II, Germany was partitioned into East and West, with the East falling under Soviet influence and the West aligning with the Allied powers. This division set the stage for stark economic disparities. East Germany, grappling with post-war devastation, struggled economically under the Soviet-style planned economy, leading to shortages and lower living standards compared to the West. Between 1949 and 1961, approximately 2.5 million East Germans, many of them skilled workers and intellectuals, fled to the more prosperous West Germany. This exodus threatened the economic and intellectual foundation of the East German state. In fact, the situation became so dire that in order to prevent this brain drain, the East German authorities, under Walter Ulbricht's leadership, decided to erect a wall, the infamous Berlin Wall, surrounding West Berlin from 1961 to 1989. It was not only a territorial and ideological barrier, it was an attempt to close off East Germans' access to West Berlin and West Germany as a whole, and to protect the economic viability of the collapsing East German state. The wall, while physically restricting movement, did not entirely stop the immigration. Despite the risks and severe restrictions, it is estimated that around 5,000 people attempted to escape over the wall during its existence, with over 100,000 East Germans managing to migrate to the West through various other means by the late 1980s. The demographic impact on East Germany was profound. The population, which stood at around 18.4 million in 1961, saw a decline over the subsequent decades. In contrast, West Germany, benefiting from the economic boom known as the Wirtschaftswunder, experienced population growth, partly fueled by the influx of immigrants and refugees, including those from East Germany. This disparity was exacerbated by East Germany's stagnant economy, limited freedoms, and the lack of opportunities for professional growth, which continued to drive emigration despite the physical barriers. Furthermore, the restrictive nature of the East German regime led to a suppression of innovation and entrepreneurship. This stagnation was evident in the technology and industry sectors, where East Germany lagged significantly behind its Western counterpart. When the Berlin Wall finally fell in 1989, leading to the reunification of Germany in 1990, the scale of the economic disparity became even more apparent. The reunification process under leaders like Helmut Kohl brought to light the significant challenges of integrating the two economies. The population of the former East Germany, which had been declining due to emigration and lower birth rates, was suddenly part of a larger, more dynamic, but also more competitive Germany. This period marked the beginning of a new chapter in Germany's struggle with brain drain, as the unified country embarked on major economic and social reforms to address the disparities and create a cohesive, prosperous nation. An example of this is Schröder's Agenda 2010, introduced in the early 2000s, which aimed to revitalize the German economy, focusing on labor market reforms and social welfare adjustments. These reforms, however, had a mixed impact, with some attributing them to subsequent economic growth and others criticizing them for widening social inequalities. Fast forward to today, and although there may not be a wall dividing Germany, the country itself is walled in by social and political pressures. Young people, disillusioned by the economy, lack of affordable housing, and the slow pace of digitalization and modernization, feel let down by Germany's politics, and are moving to more progressive countries in Europe and beyond that prioritize social welfare and economic and professional opportunities. That's not all, though. Germany is also facing a demographic challenge. Its birth rate is currently at only 1.6 children per woman, and it's projected to decline from its current 83 million, creating a perfect storm of both an aging and shrinking labor force. This is also why, in the decades since the Berlin Wall fell, Germany has been forced to pin its hopes on immigration to balance its native population decline. But since the early 2000s, the influx of immigrants, particularly skilled ones, has become a challenge in itself. You see, despite consistently ranking in the top 10 of well-being and development indices, Germany isn't the first choice for skilled professionals, and with young Germans themselves expatriating to other countries, Germany is struggling. With this, the government has been forced to take serious damage control measures to boost immigration and promote integration. For a time, these efforts paid off, with immigration numbers peaking in 2016. However, despite relatively open policies for highly skilled workers, professionals continued to choose other destinations. Language barriers, red tape, and limited career mobility as an expat worker means Germany struggles to retain and attract professionals to boost its workforce. To add to this, the country's high tax rates, particularly for high-income earners, which skilled expatriate professionals usually are, coupled with Germany's rigid labor market, create an unappealing and stifling environment for workers in high-level and entrepreneurial fields. And when it comes to training and education opportunities, talented professionals and researchers are also opting to pursue their careers in other countries that are providing higher salaries, better funding opportunities, and growth. All this means that the talent pool Germany desperately needs to replace its retiring skilled workers is becoming harder and harder to sustain. In fact, the situation has become so dire that Chancellor Angela Merkel embarked on a great migrant gamble by opening Germany's borders for millions of Syrian refugees at the height of its civil war, pledging we'll manage it. But has Germany managed it? Let's see. By 2020, more than 800,000 Syrian refugees, men, women, and children, had arrived in Germany. Of these, over 10,000 people had enrolled at universities and learned German, and more than half of all refugees had become employed taxpayers. So far, so good, you might think. This provided Germany with a much-needed increase in its working-age population and helped fill labor gaps in sectors facing shortages. There is, however, a darker side to this story. The wide-open borders raised concerns around jihadi terrorism, and the government has been faced with overwhelming asylum backlogs and housing shortages. Needless to say, the sudden influx also strained public resources, in turn leading to an unexpected and unsustainable increase in government spending that counteracted most benefits immigration brought to the German economy and workforce. This influx of immigrants has, of course, also fueled a heated public debate and aided the rise of populist parties on the right of the political spectrum, such as the Alternative for Germany, AfD, which expresses concerns about immigration and strongly opposes the concept of multiculturalism. As to the shortage of skilled labor, it continues. The German Economic Institute cites 1.5 million job vacancies, a number that's only expected to rise. These unfulfilled job vacancies cost the German economy tens of millions of euros, placing even greater strain on a mounting financial burden. But let's not forget, there's not just a shortage of incoming expertise. Germany is also experiencing a repeat of the post-World War II brain drain, as its own existing talent continues to leave the country, damaging some of Germany's most economically vital sectors. But this time, instead of building a wall, Germany is taking urgent steps to try and revitalize its job appeal. In October 2022, the government proposed reforms including an opportunity card that follows a points-based system to attract qualified foreigners. Further amendments in March 2023 relaxed requirements for foreign professionals, allowing them to work in Germany while seeking long-term employment, even if their qualifications aren't fully recognized. However, the effectiveness of these reforms remains to be seen, and if you are interested in finding out more about the challenges facing Germany, check out our next video linked here. See you there.